basketball transferred to Florida, right? Isn't Keontae Goodwin? Isn't he starting at Florida?
That
That's gonna be nice.
sounds right. Yeah, it's a
I think
shame.
so.
It's a shame Byron Young's not back for that game.
I know, but it's just gonna hurt that much more. A bad Florida offensive line still beats Tennessee 17-13 in the Swamp. I really just don't think y'all want to do a pod with me if we're losing to Graham Mertz in the Swamp with a bad offensive game. I think I might take the week off that week if that's what ends up happening there. Ryan, year 2 player who should have the biggest expectations on this current team. So someone from the class last year who actually it's fair to have the biggest expectations of anyone.
Yeah, I think when you phrase it like that, it's probably Squirrel White, just
Hmm.
because he was the most productive as a freshman, and he's probably going to split time in the slot with Dante Thornton, but I mean his game and his speed, it's just like a Joe. There's no better quarterback for him than Joe Milton, so I think he'll put up big numbers. I still think that's a little bit more of a sure thing than Dylan Sampson. And then, I mean, this goes back to the last conversation, but if you're talking about you could choose one second-year guy to have a big year, a big jump, it's Josh Joseph.
Okay, I like it. Jack, what about you?
Yeah, I agree with everything Ryan said there. I'll just build off the Squirrel White take. If Tennessee's offense is going to be anywhere close to last season, it's going to be because of Squirrel White. Like, he is going to be the guy. He's going to change games. He's going to be explosive. He's going to run short routes and get a lot of catches. He's going to be an above average SEC receiver if Tennessee's offense is going to be remotely close to last year. I know Dante Thornton's a good piece and he's going to have a good year, but Squirrel White could change Tennessee's offense as you look at it right now. If he elevates his game to another level, and he's not a Biletnikoff winner or anything like that, but if he's among one of the best SEC wide receivers, I think that could be really good for Tennessee's offense, of course. And I think he kind of has to be if Tennessee's offense is going to be, like I said, anywhere close to as dangerous as last year's.
I think it's fair. I think Squirrel is the best answer. I think if you want to do a little bit of a stretch here, I think it's fair to say Dylan Sampson because Jabari's banged up. We saw flashes of Dylan, like we saw the two-headed monster in the Vanderbilt game and what he's capable of. We know that he beat Eddie Lacy's high school rushing record, right, in Louisiana. Like he was quietly I think he did. I think he beat Eddie Lacy's high school record, and he's highly productive. I'm still pretty high on Dylan Sampson, but like you look at it, Jalen Wright has a history of getting banged up. Jabari Small obviously has a history of getting banged up. That I actually think there's a pretty good opportunity with how this offense looks that if you were to tell me Dylan Sampson led Tennessee in, I would say yards, total yards, just on the ground and through the air, like of any back, just total yards, and you told me at the end of the year it was Dylan Sampson, I wouldn't be floored.
I wouldn't be either. Wait,
yeah.
You would be floored?
I would not be. So I think you could throw
either.
him with the highest fair year 2 expectations.
We're talking about expectations, which is kind of lumped into the word with pressure, right? So The only reason I don't go Sampson is because, I mean, you talked about Cam Seldon's a freak. Deshaun Bishop has been raved about all spring. The running back depth, I feel like, is there, and it's kind of easy for running back to succeed in Tennessee's offense. I mean, we've seen 3-stars have, really good years. So I feel like when you look at the receiver position, if Squirrel White is just kind of a normal guy and he's not, a game changer or anything, who's going to be that guy for Tennessee? Brew McCoy has a tight end frame. Ramel Keaton is Ramel Keaton. I don't think Dante Thornton can be what Squirrel White could be, so that's why I lean White over Sampson.
That's fair. I will say, too, when you talk about any running back can thrive, like we Kenneth Whitehead, we never really saw because he was banged up and everything else and moves on to Georgia.
He looked good when he was on the field.
Yeah. I'm curious what Khalifa Keith looks like because we haven't seen the bowling ball slow back. Yeah, I'm curious how Hype will actually uses a back like that because we know you don't sub. So if I just want to see
Princeton
somebody
Fant roll.
Say it again.
Princeton Fant roll.
I mean I guess that's the best case scenario, right? Is he's Princeton Fant for a whole drive? I don't know. I'm curious when that signing. I'm like I actually don't know how he plays. I don't know how a bowling ball back like a TJ Duckett from way back in the day with the Falcons, somebody like that, like a Lindell White playing for that was for Ryan, a Lindell White playing a whole possession with Tennessee in the way they play. I don't, not saying it can't be done, but I'm very curious to see what it looks like I guess a year from now when Khalifa Keith gets on the field for Tennessee. I want to see what that looks like. Ryan, transfer who doesn't hit will be who of all the transfers? Because not all of them are going to hit. At least one of these guys is not going to do a thing for Tennessee this year and is going to bust. Who would you be most confident in not working out of the group?
Probably Andrej Karic.
Hmm.
I mean, I just said it earlier. I mean, he's not going to – doesn't seem like he's going to be able to help him at tackle at all. You got two interior spots locked up. I think Ollie Lane and Addison Nichols are both ahead of him, frankly, at the guard spot. So he'll be nice for a depth piece. That's always good for offensive linemen, but I don't see him having any sort of sizable role.
That's fair. I hadn't considered. He wasn't a favorite of mine, but that is fair. Like I don't know where he plays. Jack, what about you? Is it Andre or is it somebody else?
Well, I think if John Campbell wins the left tackle role and he falls flat on his face against SEC competition, he'll be the answer because of what you'll remember from him. Andre Karic could just never see the field. You just forget about him, and then he transfers next year or something. Like, it is all
good point.
You know, it's kind of like what you see on the field and how you feel about that coming out of that game. So I feel like Campbell could disappoint, whereas Karic could just be a non-factor.